How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Crypto Clout. I am your host, Faze Crypto, and today I want to talk to you about Cardano, and I also want to use this as sort of a jumping off point to discuss this article right here, Unpopular Opinion, Altcoin Will Return. But first, I would like to illustrate that right now I believe that in the future, anybody who has a full Bitcoin will be considered an expert because it'll be so rare to see somebody who actually has a full Bitcoin. And I really want to illustrate the importance of being on the left side of that decimal point, especially while we're moving forward. I think that the potential for the market to be completely flooded with altcoins is in part both a tragedy and a comedy. I think that as we move forward in the cryptocurrency space, one thing is for sure, we're going to see the technology of cryptocurrency copied, replicated, and used in all sorts of different forms. This is both a good thing and a bad thing, and I think that it also leads itself to a pretty interesting point, which is, of course, the natural evolution of these technologies. And I think right now we're really seeing some of these impressive cryptos as the most undervalued that they've ever been. I mean, in recent memory, of course, back in those of us who are lucky enough to be accumulating in the pre-2017 time remember much lower prices, but the thing is, remember back when Bitcoin was $3,000, there were very few people who were actually talking about cryptocurrency in a positive light, leading to very few people accumulating at those $3,000 levels. And I think that it's probably a similar story right now. There's people who see it as sort of a old thing, so 2000 late sort of, Bitcoin, what's that? Oh, I've heard of it. And then it's sort of a passing thing. Very few people thinking about accumulating and actually understanding the gravity of what's occurring right now with cryptocurrency in general. And this will, of course, be one of those things where the early bird gets the worm. These times of volatility right now, where the price could drop $100 in an instant, and it very well does, and it will continue to do so. However, at some point, the price will stabilize. There will be, in fact, in the future, people buying their Bitcoins for $18,000, $20,000, $25,000. I am a firm believer that there will be people who mortgage their houses in order to acquire a full Bitcoin, and it will be a big family decision trying to get a Bitcoin, and those people will probably be the ones who still benefit. Even when we think about the current situation with the economy, we think about the situation with China and, of course, inflation, all these very important variables coming into our frame of reference at this point. Now, how does this connect to Cardano? Well, we have to consider the importance of smart contracts. We have to consider the importance of the scientific achievements and the academic hurdles that have actually been crossed already by Cardano, which, of course, does separate it. In fact, it separates it quite severely from where we see Bitcoin as it currently stands, the replication ability of Bitcoin. This is also one of those issues that definitely does come up quite often while you're watching the mainstream media. There's many speculators who will go and talk about the conversation regarding how Bitcoin could one day be the MySpace of cryptocurrencies, which I do not believe. I think that human perception of value is largely based around herd mentality, and I think that Bitcoin is in fact set in stone at this current point. It will always retain a value, especially while we see this number right here. This is probably one of the key numbers, which is the total market cap. Bitcoin dominance now almost surpassing that 70% total dominance over the space. Now, how does this tie into this article right here? Well, I'll tell you. Let's read some of this. We can keep hearing that Bitcoin will take over and altcoins are doomed. Well, I'm going to be the bearer of unpopular opinion. Altcoin season will return. The Bitcoin maximalists do not like this opinion. As a self-proclaimed blockchain agnostic, I believe that the crypto space will continue to evolve and bring us new tech and new altcoins. I'm inclined to agree with this point. So what I think some of the reasons Bitcoin has acted the way that it has, the Bitcoin bear market is over. Fear mongering on Bitcoin, of course, is probably at an all-time high, simultaneously at an all-time low. Fear mongering around Bitcoin is sort of par for the course, especially with any new space. But Binance closing its platform to U.S. traders, this has had a huge, severe impact on altcoin performance. I don't think that people realize how much of a gateway Binance acted as towards bringing this money. Now, of course, this is subject to change. People will find other avenues to go around, but I think right now it's definitely due in part because of convenience sake. Now, don't let this fool you. Don't go along with the crowd. Understand that right now, Cardano and the many altcoins alike still retain their value, still retain their hold on the market. And of course, they still, as far as technology goes, of course, price is something that I guess you sort of have to put in the back of your mind. Stop thinking in terms of USD, start thinking in terms of Satoshi. And of course, I think right now, many people are focused on Bitcoin, many people are focused on the 11,862, trying to accumulate a full Bitcoin, trying to accumulate and watch that price action. Now, of course, day traders must love this market. I'm very sure they do. But at the same time, watch what one hand does and then watch what the other hand does. I'm sure that the whales right now are accumulating the altcoins by the boatload, while the rest of us are distracted by this Bitcoin price action that's happening right now, because they understand the fatigue that is happening in the cryptocurrency space. So think like a bull, think like a whale, think like whatever animal you want that allows you to convince yourself of the potential of these technologies, and especially with these projects that have showed themselves to be very promising during Bitcoin's all-time highs. Of course, no guarantees. Remember, this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. I'm not your dad, so of course, remember, you have to do your own research in this game. However, I personally am thinking like a whale. I am very happy with my fat stacks of altcoins because I understand the importance of, the fact of the matter is, you put Cardano, thinking of price and popularity and all these things aside, when we want to actually talk about the point by point achievements that have been happening right now in the Cardano Foundation, we definitely do need to take into consideration how cryptocurrencies are going to be acting in the near future. So if you want to be a future whale, you think about it, Neo at one point, just to name an altcoin that had all-time highs up in the hundreds. If you want to be a whale in the future, you have to think ahead of the curve, because just the same way, if you wanted to be a whale when Bitcoin was if you wanted to be a whale today, you would have had to buy Bitcoin when it was cheaper. Let's just be honest with ourselves, because when you're trying to get rich and think like greedy, like you want to be the next Warren Buffett, you might not get there by buying an entire Bitcoin. You might get there by buying when you are actually thinking for yourself. That's one thing in the cryptocurrency world that is rewarded, is being able to think independently from the pack and make decisions where it's the right thing to do. So that's just another perspective to take into consideration when you're looking at your fat stack of altcoins before you think about giving up the dream, giving up the altcoin quest. Keep these ideas in the back of your mind, because at some point, altcoin season will return. This article is interesting. It's not a secret that MoneyGram is using XRP as well as a number of Ripple-based blockchain products. In case you don't know, MoneyGram is an international money transfer service and provider based on the United States. So, just a few case studies, just a few jumping off points to basically illustrate this point is that you have to think outside of the box. You have to think ahead of the curve. And of course, everybody wants to be that Bitcoin Lambo dream. But of course, don't overlook these undervalued altcoins. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this content. My name is Faze Crypto, and I'm hopefully going to be seeing a lot of you Cardano whales alongside me in the future. Let's get this crypto. Have a good one.